Welcome everyone to another episode of Conversations That Inspire. I'm your host, Kim Castellano. Today we're talking about stress and how it affects your body. During the pandemic, we've spoke to so many people in our workshops at the hospitals, and we found out that a lot of people didn't really know how stress affected their body, what stress really was. So we're making this series today to help those who are watching, and when I get in person we can have more conversations. But first I want to say thank you so much for watching our episodes, and I know that they're helping people, so you can always send me an email or comment below here in the post about how this workshop has helped you. But for the sake of time, we want to get right into it. Turn off the stress, what stress is, how it affects your body. So let's get right to it. So stick with us. Even after this video, we'll get on another video, so stay with us, and then I look forward to really talking to you when I see you in person. So what is stress? Forgive me for reading my notes because usually this is a PowerPoint, but stress, according to the American Institute of Stress, 75 to 90% of primary care visits are related to stress. That's amazing, right? That's like, wow, stress disorders are on the high, and doctors are treating this with medicine. So we're seeing an increase with the prescriptive drugs, the antidepressants. So we're at an all-time high right now, but those medicines, those prescriptions don't get to the root causes of the stress. It just treats the symptoms. So, and they're also addictive. So you may find yourself that you've also become addicted to those medicines. They weren't created to solve your problems. They were created to calm down the symptoms so that you can begin diving deep in to find the root causes of what ails you. So when I see you in person, we'll be talking about some of those things. But many people are taking short courses on stress management. You have time management skills, coping mechanisms, relaxation techniques. I've met many people in these past couple months, actually 6 months. They said they've learned how to meditate. They learned how to listen to spa music. The pandemic really pushed us into really learning some coping skills. But we really want to get to the root causes of stress. And stress affects everybody differently. But what is stress? Stress is anything, according to Webster's dictionary, so I'll read it right from Webster's. Stress is a physical, chemical, or emotional factor that causes bodily or mentally tension on the body. And this also is a factor of causing diseases. So in my workshops, I always say to people, you know, if you're not going to get a hold of your stress, you're not going to manage that stress, pick your disease. You may have a disease right now. You may have an ailment that's due to stress and how it affects your body. But there's 4 categories of stress. So when we're really looking at our body as a whole, there's so many factors about how stress is affecting us. So it's either physical, emotional, chemical, or thermal. Thermal kind of is like, you know, we don't think we really have that in this tri-state area, but it's like high intense heat. So heat exhaustion, that means your body's stress level just went to exhaustion and wiped you out because your body can't adapt to the heat or to the cold. Physical stress is like sleep deprivation, overworking, chronic pain, infection, or disease. So if you have any of those ailments, your body is under physical stress. Emotional and mental stress is examples as anger, depression, anxiety, worry, family, and school issues. If you listen to some of my workshops, you'll hear about me. I'm big on this one. That emotional, mental stress kicks me in the butt all the time, so you're going to learn techniques, how we deal with that. And then you have the chemical stress, which is excessive sugar use, caffeine, stimulants, alcohol, food addictions, dust, mold, and allergens. So that's all stress. So if you think about what I just said and listing all those areas, you're probably dealing with almost all of them. So you have to start really getting a hold of some of the things that are stressing you out. The truth is, the 4 truths about stress, but I'll give you one, is not all stress is bad. So like if you're going to a wedding and you're planning for this wedding like a year, and it's seriously stressing, okay? It's financial stress, it's family stress, it's really stress. But when the wedding is over, it's like honeymoon, it's like, okay, I feel, sometimes you're actually looking for something to do because your body's still revved up. because of all this cortisol that's flowing. You'll talk more about that in person. 2 categories of stress producers. This is serious. So there's major stressors, which is called chronic. That's divorce, death of a loved one, because that's intense grief, prolonged illness, poverty, and unhappiness in the workplace. The other side of the chart is daily life stressors. These are acute. These are everyday. This is traffic jams, paying bills, family tension, noise, crowds, sleep disturbances. Maybe you live in the city and you got horns and trucks going through and it wakes you up in the middle of the night. Your sleep is disturbed. That's stress. These are constant producers. These things produce stress in the body. So you may also say, hey, I got all this stuff going on too, Kim. So unmanaged chronic stress can lead to all sorts of diseases, and such as cancer, heart disease. Now, I didn't make this stuff up. This is all, you can Google it. You're going to see, even if you went to a doctor visit and they say, if you don't manage that stress and anxiety that you have in your life, you're going to have a heart attack. You're going to have a stroke. Maybe you have cancer. Maybe you have migraines, depression, anxiety, sleep problems, weight gain. Weight gain, you've seen me if you know me. My weight goes like this because my stress goes like this. So I always say I got to go to the gym. I got to go work out. I got to get rid of this stress. I got to get rid of this chemical in my body. We'll talk more about that, what your game plan is. But to be honest with you, God created a mechanism called the fight or flight reaction. A lot of people I've spoke to don't even know what that was, didn't understand it. It's called the fight or flight reaction. So there's the alarm stage, the resistance stage, and then the exhaustion stage. So we're going through these stages every time that we're stressed. So what it is, and we'll talk more about that in person, but we're not fighting animals now. We're not fighting live animals. So basically I always say is the fight or flight reaction was so that we would flee from danger, right? So we got this, our brains just like, wow, they know what to do, like car accident or wild animals. You shoot the animal, you bring it home, and there's the reward, and your body goes to relax. So Heinz Seil, he's the father of stress. You could probably Google that and find the stages, or when I see you in person, we'll talk more. The third stage is the meditation and relaxation response, and that's the response that calms the body down. So you can go from like an accident, and then next thing you know, you're like, for hours you're all like this. I've had these situations all the time. I have to do something, which is a breathing technique or something. That's my go-to to calm myself down. Making this video is anxiety for me. So the truth is, it's my stress is real. If it's your stress and my stress are two different, if it's stressing you out, it's real. Don't let anybody tell you, oh, don't worry about it. You are, because it's your stress, it's your anxiety, this is you. It's okay. But we need to do something to calm ourselves down. So when the natural stress response goes haywire, because that's what happened, you have all this cortisol pumped in your body, you're pumped up, you're like this, and what happens is we say smart people do stupid things because the cortisol is fogging your brain and you can't think straight. You're making poor decisions, or you're chasing that addiction, or you're chasing something else to get some calmness. So it also leads to anxiety, depression, digestive problems, heart disease, sleep problems, memory and concentration. You're always losing your keys, can't remember. Check your stress. Check your stress, because guess what? I forget things. It's because I'm too stressed out. When I start misplacing my keys, I'm like, okay, check yourself. So a personal inventory every day, you got to check. What you can do, what can you do about stress? You could do a ton of stress. You could do a ton of things. The good news is that you can learn to recognize and control some of the stress and the sources, because in life you can control your situations, you can control your thoughts, you can control your friends, right? You can control a lot of stuff. So you got to learn about what you can control and what you can't control, and we'll do that in the workshop. So I'm going to leave you with this question: is what one area of your life are you committed to working on right now? You got to have you need to be committed to working on one area right now that will give you the best results. So our area is so unique, but you need to pick one area, and then I look forward to talking to you about it when I see you in person. So thanks for watching, and stay to the next video. Thanks for staying with us. Our next video is about forgiveness, and forgiveness is a choice. Yes, forgiveness is a choice. You choose to forgive. So one of the steps that you could do about stress and anxiety is to release forgiveness, is to release someone. But we have a hard time because we don't understand what forgiveness is not, and it's not reconciliation like I've always thought. Just because I forgave you, that means we're reconciled, let's go have a cup of coffee. But that's not the truth about forgiveness. And so let's just talk about forgiveness, okay? So it's a choice. And you hear that probably a lot, that, you know, it's hard to do that. So why? Why is those who choose to forgive, they decide to give up resentment and desire to punish the person who wronged them. They cancel the debt and the other person owes them. So you cancel out the wrong that was done to you. But see, it's hard to do that because you have pain, right? It's real. So the false understanding of the forgiveness, they look for some good reason that makes the person wrong, okay? To be honest with you, someone wronged me, there's no good reason for me to even find that you deserve, because no one deserves to be forgiven if they've done something wrong. So forgiveness comes from the desire to forgive, just to forgive. So there's times in my life, you'll hear it's in person, but I tell my stories about I choose to forgive, even though the pain is so intense. I'm like, I don't want to carry this. And I release it because it's too painful for me. And I can't do what I'm doing. I want to see life as an adventure. I want to be fun. I want to be free. I need to push this off of me because it weighs me down, causes too much stress and anxiety, and thoughts going on in my head. And sometimes it's like shame and guilt. There's so much rooted inside unforgiveness, but we really just need to know what it is and what it's not. So we're talking right now about what it's not. So no one who has ever hurt someone intentionally deserves to be forgiven. Okay, so that's the first thing. What it's not, it doesn't require minimizing the pain, because the pain is real. So don't minimize your pain. I'm still hurting from the thing that happened, but I'm choosing to forgive so that I can heal. Forgiveness does not mean that the person is saying it didn't matter, because it did, right? It wasn't a huge wrong against me. Yes, it was. It was huge. You're still going to have the memory, you're still going to have some of the pain, but you're choosing the forgiveness part. It doesn't mean letting the person off the hook so that justice is required. There's still consequences of the sin, so or the hurt that was done against me. So that means I'm not going to participate with you. I'm going to keep you at a distance, right? So there still needs to be penalties if someone really hurt you, and there's criminal charges. They need to learn their lesson. So a person can forgive and still require a person to face legal penalties for a crime that was committed, just because you've forgiven them, but you're not taking away the consequences. So forgiveness is not the same as reconciliation. You can forgive a person even if he doesn't forgive you, but reconciliation always requires the wills of both parties. And that's a huge mistake, because I release forgiveness to, I don't know, Betty for hurting me, but Betty isn't interested in receiving it, but I release it. That doesn't mean that we reconcile and go out and have fun, because she's still hurting, I'm still hurting, so you need some time to heal. And then reconciliation can happen. What is forgiveness, though? Forgiveness means placing the person in the hands of God and canceling out the debt. And that's very hard. Sometimes you have to say, you know what, God, help me, because I can't do this on my own strength, because you know what? It's hard to forgive people. You need to call down your higher power and say, God, I need help. I'm struggling with this, but I don't want to carry this. You have to realize that when you're holding on to someone with pain, like holding on to unforgiveness is like making a tight fist. And that tight fist is like poison inside your soul. You have a soul there, and you're just holding on. And you have to let that person go. And then you feel the freedom. And in your body, and God can start healing your heart and your mind and your soul. But you got to release that person. So you have to talk to God. Allow God to work His justice in that person's life. So just because I forgave them, what I do is I say, God, you know what? I don't want to retaliate. I don't want to have any bitterness. please just push it off of me and I hand it to you, because you can do much greater than me. So you can fix that person, you can heal that person, you can have justice done on that person better than I can, but heal me, because I want to release that. So I've had a lot of people, I've been hurt so many times, and we all have, but you got to get really good at learning how to do the unforgiveness. But it is means placing the person before God and trusting God to deal with the offended person. It's trusting God to heal the wound inside. I'm trusting that God's going to help me process this pain. No, I have the memory, but forgiveness is like every time, more and more that you release, the further and further away the pain is. The memory's there. Okay, because it's a boundary, and reconciliation is a trust, so you're going to have to start building trust again. But I don't want to carry that bitterness and pain. You know what I'm talking about when you're carrying that bitterness, resentment. And maybe even you have it towards yourself. Maybe you have some shame and guilt. You got to confess those things before God in quietness, and to start talking to your heart and saying, listen, I need to get through this. So when we talk in person, I have a handout. It's right here. There's a handout that has the 6 steps on forgiveness, but it is a process. So, you know, some people say, oh, it'll go away in time. I'm sorry. That's not true. It doesn't, because if you've been hurt, I talk to 80-year-olds who still remember the pain that their parents had on them. So it just releases the intensity. The extreme pain is not there, but the memory's there. It happened to me. It's back there. So for me, forgiveness is taking things and putting them back there and say, yes, they happen, but I'm not letting them touch my heart, so I can just see life as an adventure and enjoy everything that's in front of me. So forgiveness is a matter of the will, so you can choose to forgive. That's your first choice. So first step is this, and when I see you in person, you'll have the handout. The 6 steps to forgiveness is admit that you've been wounded, okay? Admit to yourself that the events, words, and situation and attitudes have hurt or wounded you, or emotionally and spiritually, in your past or in your current life. Admit that they have occurred. Even the littlest hurt, admit to God the struggle you may have in unforgiveness. So admitting that you have pain. A lot of people say, oh, they'll bother me. Yes, it really does bother you, because bitterness is spewing out of your mouth and it's coming out of your actions. So you're acting out anger towards this person. So yes, check your heart, check your unforgiveness. Accept God's forgiveness in your life if you believe that you had any part whatsoever, because it takes 2 people to make the wrong, right? So confess that to God and receive His forgiveness. And you have to forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself. Sometimes you got to do this, and you got to cry before God and say, God, just release this thing off of me. I can't do this myself. And sometimes it happens like that. Other times it'll just speed the process up, and you'll start seeing, amazing things. God just orchestrating unforgiveness and forgiveness to yourself. So I look forward to seeing you in person. We'll do this workout, this little handout together. Stay to the next video, because we're going to talk with Christina Solimene about meditation, because we said the 3rd response is the relaxation. Thanks for listening. Hi, Christina. So Christina is on board at Power of One and Christian Coaching and Outreach Ministries as our intern. She's in her 2nd year of Masters for Mental Health Counseling. So this is right up Christina's alley. We've been talking to over 200 people about stress and anxiety during COVID. So we're made these videos, but today we're going to talk about the relaxation response. So on the other videos, we've talked about how stress affects your body, what stress is. We talked about the forgiveness. There's still so much more to talk about, but we've got to start someplace, and then when we see you in person, we'll answer those questions. So today we're talking about mindfulness and the stress busters. In their packets, they get the stress buster, 12 stress busters. They get the Christian meditation and the practice mindfulness. But today we're here and chilling. As you can see, I'm on the couch chilling out with Christina. So Christina, the breathing. Tell us about the breathing techniques, because again, we're stressed out. We got to take care of stress in the moment.
Yeah, so breathing really turns on that quieting response, the calming, the relaxation for us. It pumps the oxygen through our body to release that relaxation, you know. So it's different for everybody, and we talk about this often. Is what's relaxing for me might not be for you, you know. It's really about finding that one thing or a few things that you can turn to turn on that relaxation for yourself in the body. You'll feel it too, and we'll get in the video. We'll do a technique at the end of this video. We'll do a technique
at the end. So one of the things that I know that I'm a Christian background. I'm always saying call down the higher power and meditating. Basically, Christian meditation is focusing on, you know, the power of God and you know, people say, how do you do that? We call it dialing down. That's the training I've always had, is we call it dialing down, because it's like, okay, hold on a second. I can't let this thing, you know, take over me. So dialing down is Christian meditation, is basically focusing either on a Christian piece of scripture. Some people just know that they have their go-to scriptures, and then in the moment of all the stress, they'll just focus on, you know, God is peace. I know you're with me. I'll never be alone. You'll never forsake me. I mean, you can rattle these things on, and all of a sudden, just saying those verses, saying those words and those beliefs about you know, I'm doing it now. It's calming me down. And you're just thinking about them, and then all of a sudden the presence of God falls on you, and then you're chill. You're relaxed. You're like, I know God's got this. I know He's got my back. He's never going to leave me. He's never going to forsake me. I'm going to get through this. And then I start checking my breathing. So there's a ton of stuff that I do, right? And we all do it, but knowing what your go-tos are. So Christian meditation, that's kind of how you do it. And you can go through all that. People do yoga.
Yeah, yoga.
Right? Sometimes in the heat of the moment, you got to leave, right? Is that the fight, flight, or freeze? Or, you know, I'm a runner, so I'm going to leave. I'm going to walk, take a break, take in fresh air. But that's the Christian meditation, is quieting and dialing down, focusing your attention on one thing. Breathing is big.
Breathing is the key to really mindfulness meditation, you know. There's all these techniques that we have or that are out there that we can try, you know. You can go on YouTube, on the internet, they're all over. But the one thing that's really about all of these techniques is the breathing. That's the most important part of anything, you know. Just really the breathing is the first step.
So when you're stressed out and you know that you're stressed, what are some of the, you know, when you know you're stressed out, it affects everybody. So how do you stop? You're focusing on your tension. Mine's all in my neck, in my back, in my stomach.
Yeah, our stomachs turn into knots. We get sweaty palms. We get our heart races. Right. These are all stress responses in the body.
So when I feel that that's happening, I know that there's also, I do this a lot. I'll self-massage. If you see me doing this a lot, that means that I'm anxious or I'm excited and I got to calm down. So I got to do something. Sometimes I rub on my legs, or, you know, some people crack knuckles and stuff like that. But so breathing. Okay. So you kind of like, you have to dabble into some of this stuff. Is that what it is? Keep trying.
There's all different techniques. So we can go over some that might work for maybe running, yoga, like you said before, maybe watching a movie really even just turns on that calming, taking a bath. We'll do an exercise, a breathing exercise, prayer, like you mentioned. That's also another form. Yeah, sometimes you have to remove yourself from the situation because it's just too stressful. So what do you think, Les? Should we do we even made our list. It says taking a bath, art, reading, watch a movie, cleaning. Oh my gosh, cleaning. It's like if you're stressed out, hey, grab a rag and just start cleaning. Yeah, because your body is it's an activity, you know. So listen, I'm on the couch and I want to just, so for the sake of time, because they've been watching these videos and I'm happy, I'm looking forward to seeing people in person. But hey, what the heck, I'm on the couch. So let's so help me out here. So
let's say I'm new, and maybe you're watching right now and you're like, okay, let me dabble with this breathing thing. So if you're stressed out, and you know what, let's just put it this way. For me, at the end of the day, stressful day, you come home, I need a quiet time for a minute. So whether you read a book, watch a movie, but getting some deep breaths and just getting this off of me. And it takes not long, right? No. So what do you got there?
Dedicate maybe a short minute to doing this quieting response exercise. It really just helps you gain control of that stress, and breathing through the body. So just learning it, practicing over time makes it more easier, come more naturally. The first time
when you
might
breathe,
feel a little bit.
Right, so when you breathe, you're like, and then you have to watch your hand move, right? They always say, make sure your hand moves. That's how you know you're getting a belly breath.
A deep breath, yeah. Yeah, for sure. So this technique we'll go through, and this is useful whenever you can quickly fit it in your day. So basically the first step is recognizing your stress symptoms. So what feelings might you be having right now that are pointing towards stress? Like we mentioned, the lump in the throat, knot in the stomach, heartbeat up, sweaty palms. So then you breathe slowly through the imaginary holes at the bottom of your feet.
I like that because I opened up my toes and I'm like, yeah, okay, I can feel that.
And you begin to exhale. So relax your jaw, your lower tongue. Permit warm air to leave through these imaginary holes in your feet. And then imagine warmth and heaviness simultaneously with the exhalation as the warm air descends through your neck, shoulders, arms, and chest. And then just continue that and feeling the warmth coming out of the holes at the bottom of your feet. Really turns on the relaxation response.
So now some people, I know that they have a lot of anxiety and stuff. They can feel it right here. And before I was just talking about, releasing forgiveness and those toxic emotions, because I know that I don't have them. So I can just feel the energies just flowing through, God's presence. And we always say the Holy Spirit just come flow through me. But if we're holding on, that flow can't come. So it's really releasing all the toxic emotions and memories that are in the body.
Yeah, and really when we're trying to relax, we have all of these thoughts that tend to come in, and it's really accepting those thoughts and just not feeding into them more. Saying, I understand that I'm worried about this right now, but it's not the time to deal with this.
I need to relax right now, time out. It's going to be okay, and that's the self-talk. That you have to listen to those tapes. And I know that when we see them in person, we'll be talking about the cognitive behavior. We want to get right into that, and that's the worry cycle. And those are those thoughts up there, right? And then you have identifying and working with the triggers. We're going to be working with triggers and the 10 distortional beliefs, and distortional thinking is big. So if you're still watching, thank you. And again, it's Kim Castellano and Christina Solimene is with me. We're from Power of One Christian Coaching and Outreach Ministries. So we're looking forward to talking to people more in person, because we can go to the hospitals, and that's where we've been going to the detox, and we're seeing such success with the stress coaching, and so are they on the inside. So it's a wonderful fit. I mean, it's a shame that we have a pandemic that we can't go back in the libraries and do our workshops, but I see that God opened an opportunity where the people really, really needed it right now, and that door is open for us. So the question we're going to leave them with is, let's see, we had a question. What are healthy ways to releasing toxic emotions and stress that will work for you? Okay, it's different for everyone. So what are healthy ways to releasing toxic emotions and stress that will work for you? Like the exercise, walking, yoga, music, repeating a mantra, cleaning, taking a bath, art. We're going to talk more about that in person. So thanks for watching another episode of Conversations That Inspire. Your host, Kim Castellano, with our guest, Christina Solimene. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.